Digi.
Hi, welcome to the Essential Show with me, Sammy, and
me, Morgan.
And I don't have much topics off the top of my head today, like I normally do, but I'm just gonna be very relaxed and just talk about stuff that's happened in media news and stuff like that. And so I'm gonna start off by Fast and Furious actor Paul Walker died over the weekend in a car accident, and I'm not going to be disingenuous and say that I was a big fan of his work, but I think as a fan of cinema, it's always a tragedy to lose someone who contributed to the thing that you love. Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Morgan.
Hello.
Say what you.
I find it ironic that he died in a car crash.
Yes, but that doesn't really.
I don't find it funny, but I find it a bit ironic.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. It's very sad. He lost a child. I mean, his child is, now our father, so it's tragic. But he died in a car crash, and in these movies, it was obviously in these movies that people will watch now to see who he was. He was got out of so many car explosions, and he died in a car explosion. So it's a tiny bit ironic.
But as you said, the real tragedy is here that
the fact that his child was in the car behind him and saw the car explode. I mean, she's my age, he's a child, so she's not really a little child.
And also, what people should take into consideration here, this guy was leaving a charity event.
No, I don't like that. I don't like it. I mean, it's obviously he's a nice person, but I don't like when people die. They try and make them. They try and find any little way to make them look like Jesus.
Care, but it still is a tragedy that someone was helping the world.
I know.
Of the Philippines, I think it was that he was helping. And also, I heard a story that this guy, he was in a jewelry store, and he noticed that this guy was buying a ring for his wife, and the guy picked the ring, but he didn't have enough money, and Paul Walker went over to him and gave him his credit card.
I want to see the receipts.
It's true, Morgan. His publicist has said it. So
I want to see the receipts.
Yeah, well,
I want to see the receipts.
Well, I know that happened for a fact, and he gave the credit card, and he paid for the guy to give the ring to his wife for the engagement. No, but it's just a tragedy. But
yeah, it's tragic.
Here's the thing: he was midway shooting Fast and Furious 7. Okay.
They've done 7 movies of the same movie.
No, it's still, they've done 6 so far, but
they're filming the 7th.
Yeah. Well, Morgan, they'll go on to Fast and Furious 38. But anyway, going back to this, midway shooting, we don't know how much he shot. He could have only shot 2 scenes, but
they started shooting in August.
But that's a pretty long time. So we're now in December. They can get a lot done in 4 months.
Mm-hmm. They're going to have to do what Glee did.
No, here's the thing.
Corey Monteith, they're going to have to kill the character off.
No, there's 3 options that they can do here. They can recast the character. They can write him out. Or they can just... What's the other option they can do?
They can... The jury said that they can get somebody to play the role.
Yeah, they can recast it.
I'm sure there's a lot of people in Hollywood that look a lot like him, so...
Yeah, but still, I think that could upset a lot of people, and...
Because that's kind of what they did with Heath Ledger and...
Imaginary Dr.
Yeah, instead of getting somebody that looked like him, they got 3 different roles that showed it was like a girl dreaming of like her fantasy guys.
But I
think the movie's plot.
Personally, they should... I think they should write him out. I'm not saying they should kill him off, because I know...
It's a movie of tons of car crashes and tons of deaths.
Yeah, but I know...
But then people will say that you can't kill somebody in a movie in a car crash when they die in a car crash in real life. And I think what will happen is, then it will leave the audience thinking throughout the movie, oh yeah, that guy died. So that might... And then if they show him die in a car crash, it will be way too...
Yeah, but I think they should write him out. Now, to my belief, the character has a wife in the movie, and I think they've just had a baby in the movies. So what they could do is they should say they don't want this life anymore. Yeah. They've gone to settle down in I don't know, Italy or something. or they could just kill him off. They could write him out like some people do in TV shows. Like I know in the TV show The West Wing, in the last season, like there was like 4 episodes until the whole finale.
The stupid thing they've done, and can I say
this?
this?
No, because I was talking.
Okay.
So there was 4 episodes left of this whole show, and it's about the finale to happen. One of the main characters' actors suddenly died. Yeah. So what they done was they just said, "Oh, he had a heart attack. He's dead." So they just wrote him out, and it ended up for the best because the show still went on. It still made money, and it still got good reviews. So they could write him out, but
is that what happened
in the West Wing?
I watched that, and I didn't know that somebody died.
Yeah.
Which character was that?
Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'll look it up after.
The thing I was going to say is that they've confirmed that they're doing the movie.
Well, or the third option. That's the third option.
In reality, they should have.
The third option is they could just forget about it. They could stop the movie.
In reality, they shouldn't have even said it after he died. They should have said it was a rumour, even if they had recorded it and just left it. Because when Marilyn Monroe died, she was filming a movie.
What, The Misfits?
No, Something's Got to Give.
Yeah.
And then they just completely changed the movie name, recast the whole cast.
They can't do it with Fast and Furious.
They can't, and they just did it again. They said that the Marilyn film never happened.
With that movie... And
then 30 years later, it got released on DVD.
Listen, Morgan, with that movie, that was the first movie. We're coming on to the 7th. They can't just say, we're going to stop this and we'll start again.
They can, because they've done it 6 times now.
No, because here's the thing. It's not just Paul Walker. There's so many people who have jobs on this thing. Mm-hmm. Even the smallest thing, people are getting paid money. People have already signed contracts. Maybe, we don't know, but maybe they've signed contracts for like 30 films, and they can't just they could forget about this movie though. Mm-hmm. They could, like, that's what people said about The Dark Knight. When Heath Ledger died, they said they should stop the movie, but they carried on with it because they wanted to show people Heath Ledger's great performance in honour.
No, he didn't do a great performance. He only won that award, the big award, because he died.
In honour of his death, they wanted to show what he could do. Obviously, Paul Walker is not as good of an actor as Heath Ledger was.
He's had some terrible movies.
Yeah, but Paul Walker, all respect to Paul, I've seen him in 2 films, and he was awful in them. I saw him in Pleasantville, and what's that movie? She's All That, and he wasn't good at them. And he wasn't good in them. No, I still.
The weirdest thing is that when the news broke, it was like 2 a.m. like here, and I was on Twitter and I saw it, and when I saw like the breaking news thing from like a media Twitter account, I had no idea who he was. Okay. I'd heard the name. I thought it was somebody from like a sitcom or somebody from like a teenage sitcom. Mm-hmm. I had no idea that he was in Fast and Furious.
He was in not all of them. He was in like 5. He was in 5 of 6.
In a way, it's obviously tragic that he died, but the media is incredibly fake with certain things. They're going to make him seem like a massive star now that he's gone. Mm-hmm. In a way, it's sort of like with James Dean, but it won't be obviously for as long, because obviously James Dean died when he was like 25.
Yeah, right.
And he'd only done 3 films.
Yeah.
And he still talks about now. We're talking about him now. But it's because people made it seem like they were amazing, they were a legend before they could get legendary status.
Here's the tricky thing. If you go back to Heath Ledger shot everything to do with The Dark Knight that he had to do. Yeah?
Okay, well, I think, can I just say something? I think, let's think about something as big as Star Wars, all right? Yeah. Or a franchise. Mm-hmm. And you have a character, let's take episode, have you seen the Star Wars movies?
Yeah. Yes.
You've seen episode 2 and episode 3? Yeah. Who's the guy who played Anakin? I forget his name already. There you go. Already forgotten his name. Imagine if he died. Yeah. Right? People would be talking about him basically forever. But why? It's because of the franchise he was in and what that meant. Paul Walker died. in the 7th movie of one of the big. In fact, the Fast and Furious franchise is only getting bigger with each movie.
Because the last 2 movies, apparently, I haven't seen the last 2, but the last 2 movies have apparently been really good.
Yeah, well, I thought, personally, Part 5 was my favorite one. Okay. And that's pretty crazy to have. I've seen all of them, and I didn't like Part 4 that much. I didn't like Part 2. Part 2 was really bad. But 3, 5, and 6 was all right. The franchise itself is almost legendary for that, and he was a big part of it. He was basically Anakin in that franchise. So it's nobody's saying he was the greatest actor or anything.
I know, but the people do get incredibly fake when somebody dies.
I'm saying here's the tricky thing though. He may have shot. We don't know. He's been filming for 4 months. That's not just him though. It's other people too. So let's say he films 30% of the film. Yeah.
There's still the other 70%.
Yes, there's still the other 70% that he had to shoot, and he hasn't because sadly he's dead. But there's some actors who've died after the shooting, and that's fine. Obviously, it's not fine for them, but it's fine for the film because I don't want to sound. I don't want to sound like really negative here, but film ticket sales will go up because of the actor who's died, and
I know in a way. There's a quote. I can't remember who said it, and they said that sometimes the best thing you can do for your career is die.
Yeah, well, we've seen that happen many times. In this case, I think, and I could be wrong here, but I think part of the reason there's such a buzz around it is also this is probably the most high-profile death at such a stage in such a big budget production.
Yeah.
So I think it's almost unprecedented in that way.
Also, too, it's a bit of a shock because sometimes you look at celebrities and you think...
They're never going to die there.
And you think, no, they can't die. But then you look at the other ones and say, oh, they're on drugs, they're going to die.
When sometimes they're not even on drugs.
Now, Paul Walker was quite clean. Obviously, I don't think he ever done anything... Look, obviously he'd never done that bad of a thing because he wasn't that big in the media, as a lot of people are. He was a fit, healthy guy, obviously, because he died in a car accident.
He wasn't a media type.
It wasn't his fault, per se, or we don't know that yet, but he was healthy. The most
disturbing thing about his death is that 2 days before he died in a car crash, there was a rumour he died in a car crash, and his publicist had to deny it.
But, obviously, so you didn't expect him to die. I don't think... If somebody asks you...
So I didn't expect him to die.
Well, I don't think anybody sits around expecting anyone to die, really.
But this generation does. I don't, but there's certain people...
If you look at people, say, you have, train wrecks of a celebrity, say...
Amy Winehouse died, we all knew it was going to happen.
I didn't know.
Michael Jackson died, and I was in bits, I cried, but we were thinking, he's on prescription pills, it's going to happen.
And you got people like... you have loads of people who are junkies and drug addicts and stuff like that. So
I mean, Lindsay Lohan's now sober and been sober since July, but people are still saying she's going to die from drugs, but she's been sober.
So many people...
Who knows? But I mean, for me, I'll say I haven't really heard anyone mention this about Paul Walker's death, but I'm pretty sure a few years ago, in fact, during the early days of Fast and Furious, I think the first one actually, when he was doing press for that, that's when he fell in love with car racing, was through that movie. And I'm pretty sure I recall him saying that, because they talked about how dangerous it was, and he was saying that that's how he'd want to go out. He'd want to go out like that. So when I heard about this, I felt it was, part of me felt, well, a bit sort of like happy for him in the sense that if he's going to die, he died from something that he loves doing. But then at the same time, I felt he was a bit cheated because he was the passenger.
Yeah.
When I first heard that he died, I assumed that he was driving. Then I found out he was a passenger. I thought, I don't know if this falls into what
he was saying.
Yeah, I think that makes it sad. It makes it sadder. Yeah. I mean, we all die at some point. It's a very sad and morbid topic, but for him to have said this is because I ride motorcycles, and I know how dangerous that is. And I was in a pretty bad accident last year. And I get asked that all the time. And so I've had those kind of thoughts like, well, I love doing it and I know it's dangerous. And if I did go this way, I wouldn't want to be like crippled. I'd want to just go.
Yeah.
But if I did go that way, I would have died doing something I loved. And so and that's how I view it. But if I was a passenger in a motorcycle, that would be no.
Apparently, there has been traces of donut. When you're driving really fast, there has been traces of that. So maybe it was semi his fault. And obviously he wasn't the driver, but say he didn't stop the driver going that fast, And
all we have is speculation now.
We should also, it wasn't just Paul Walker in that car. Yeah. It was also it was also the driver whose son, I think the son was like 6 or 5, who tried, or like he might have been older than that. He might have been like 8 or 9. He tried to go and get his dad out of the car that was burning. So you also got to remember, it wasn't just Paul Walker. There was also a guy, I think he was called Roger or something like that. There was also that guy who sadly died.
I'm angry with you.
Why?
Because I'm going to say something.
Why?
Okay, I saw something so similar on the internet, because obviously people on the internet tend to be either incredibly calm about things or completely insane. And it annoys me when you see these, mostly it's teenagers, saying it wasn't just Paul Walker that died. Think of the driver. But millions of people die every single day. We're not thinking about them. And they're you're only thinking about him because he's famous.
I agree
but you're thinking of the driver because he's now famous.
I'm going to say this publicly because it's being recorded. But I dealt with something like that. I saw on the internet, on Facebook, somebody put up one of those
pictures.
Yeah, that said
press like to
and there was a sort of like RIP the guy who was with Paul Walker that nobody is talking about
because he's famous.
Because he isn't famous.
But
and
I
said
famous
so. I commented on that one, and I said something along the lines of, and also I said also RIP to everyone that died that wasn't in the car with the guy that was in the car with Paul Walker, who isn't being recognized for being famous, because it's like...
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just saying that it's a shame too that he died. I totally agree with you guys, but...
Talking on the topic of death,
I also got criticized, sorry, I gotta say, because this is... We're on the topic, might as well get it all out on air. I also got criticized for saying, when I heard that he was dead, I wanted to know, the first thing I wanted to know was what's happening with the movie.
I thought.
Somebody probably said, people, somebody's dead.
I was getting, and I was like, look, I'm not happy that he's dead. I mean, obviously, I care as much as I would care for anyone I've never met.
Yeah.
But I only know him because of the movies.
Yeah.
And that's what that's...
Yeah, I'm a massive film fan, and
I've never seen any of the films.
Even though I don't, neither have I.
Was it Angelina Jolie in one of them?
No.
I was watching those.
I've seen like one.
That was Gone in 60 Seconds, I think.
I think, I think I saw the first one. I think just on TV one year, but I follow, even if I don't watch the movies, even if I'm not interested in the movies, I still follow the film's production, how they're going. I watch a show called AMC Movie Talk on YouTube, and they talk about
with John Campion.
And when I watch stuff like that, and when they talk about it, I've been watching like, someone's casting this, someone casting Fast and Furious, and all of that, and production's going ahead, but then when someone dies, my first thought was, it wasn't, I don't want to sound negative here, but it wasn't that, my first thought wasn't, oh my god, he's dead, that's a shame.
My first thought was, who is he?
My first thought wasn't, oh my god, he's dead, that's a shame. My first thought was, what's going to happen with Fast 7?
Yeah.
What's going to happen
And the same thing happened with Heath Ledger, when I heard he died. Because I'm, how huge a Batman fan I am.
Well, he was weird because he loves Heath Ledger.
Well, the thing is, what happened was, I'm a massive Batman fan. Batman introduced me to Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
But I love Batman. I was looking forward to The Dark Knight. When Heath Ledger died, I also thought,
what's going to happen to the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because that's the relationship that I have with the character.
Yeah. And obviously with
it would be fake, because I was basically saying I think it's rather, dishonest, disingenuous to be saying, oh, you're cold for asking about the movie, because when you don't know him personally and you only know him for that, so
I think it's different if it's different if like politicians or something dies. Maybe you think with politicians or just like general celebrities, oh no, they're dead, that's a shame, because then they're not starring in a film. They're not like.
I think it depends on if you're a massive fan of the celebrity.
Yeah, obviously, but you're not on. I wasn't a massive fan of Paul Walker.
Exactly, but say like if it was, there's certain like look, if it was a celebrity you're a massive fan of, you wouldn't just be thinking the movie. You'd be thinking of them.
Well, the people that criticize me, there's two people who will not be named. I know one of them is a fan of the films. I don't know if she's a fan of the films or not, but the other one I know doesn't really care for them. So who is he really to criticize me for caring about the film that Paul Walker obviously cares about? You know, so
my thing is, I never was a fan of Paul Walker. When I think of Fast and Furious, I think of Vin Diesel, where probably most people do think of Vin Diesel, or now the newer films that come out, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and no, but I'm going to end it on the note.
We're going to talk about some other things, but Paul Walker took over the 21 minutes.
Digi.